So scientific notation is another skill that you must need for a math team competition. There's several, you have questions on this in every competition. So scientific notation, basically, it is represented as a product of a factor and 10. Okay, so product of a factor and a power of 10. Okay, so the factor which is given, like I can see 8 and 3/10 over here, this must be greater than or equal to 1, and it should be less than 10. So if I look at 8 and 3/10, that is definitely a greater than 1 and less than 10. All right, and the power of 10 will have an integer exponent. Okay, so this is going to have an integer exponent. This can be negative or positive depending on what kind of number we are working with. Okay, so let's start from a simple basic example. These numbers are in standard form. So these numbers are in standard form, and I am going to convert them to scientific notation. All right. So let's look at the first one. We have 8,600. So when you move the decimal place to the left, you are going to have a positive exponent. Okay. So this is what that means. I said that this one needs to be a number, either it is equal to 1, or, this is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, so that means I'm going to look at this and I need to go to the first, after the first place value over here. Okay, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So since I am moving to the left, my exponent is going to be positive. Okay, because I'm going to get 8 and 6/10. All right, times 10 to how many places we moved. So from here we've moved 1, 2, 3 places, or we can go backwards and write it, but 1, 2, 3 places. So therefore this is going to be my exponent. So 8 and 6/10 times 10 cubed. So this basically means I'm taking this number and I am multiplying it with 1,000. All right, and so that is why, if I take this and I have to convert it to a standard form, what am I doing? I'm saying times 10 cubed. So I just take this and I go 1, 2, 3. And so I annex zeros and this number becomes 8,600. So that's when I'm converting the scientific notation back to standard form. But right now, since I'm just showing you how I get a positive exponent or how I get a negative exponent. All right. So let's look at the next example. When your decimal, okay, is moving to the right, then I am going to get a negative exponent. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3. So I have moved 3 places to the right in this case. And so this is 2 and 4/10 times 10 negative 3. Okay, negative 3 as an exponent. And we know that negative exponent basically means what? The reciprocal, right? Because if I had just given you this actually means what? 1 over 10 times 10 times 10. And so basically I am dividing. All right, so that is why I have that negative exponent, because I know that if I take this number and I divide it by 10 cubed or 1,000, my decimal is going to go from here. And division means that the number is getting smaller. So, and that's what the negative exponent is telling me. And so this goes 1, 2, 3 to the left. I annex my zeros, and then I get this number. Okay, and I've taught you how to read decimals in the past. Basically just do this. All right, so that means I get 24 10,000th as my answer. Okay, so just remember, like if I am moving my arrow to the left, I am trying to move the decimal point to the left, I'm going to get a positive exponent. When I am moving it to the right, I am going to get a negative exponent. All right, so let's try some examples. I'm going to first start writing numbers in scientific notation, and then we'll do backwards. Okay, so let me give you two examples. Let's say I give you 173 million. All right, and let me give you this number. Okay, so um, we're going to look at this, and we are going to see that this 173 million, I will have to take my decimal point and move it over here. Okay, so I am going to get 1 and 7300 times, let's see how much we move to the left. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So I have moved, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 places to the left. So I move the decimal 8 places to the left. So my 10 is going to have the power of 8. So 1 and 7300 times 10 to the 8th power. This is my standard form of 173 million written out as a number in scientific notation. All right. Now let's take this other example. So now in this case, I have to make sure my decimal goes behind the 3. All right. So the first number here times 10. Now look what's happening. We are, instead of moving from right to left, we are moving, in the other direction. We are going from left to right. So obviously, in the end, if I had it in standard form, and I have to move it to the right, that means I'm going to have a negative exponent. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have moved 6 place values to the right. All right. And so since we moved to the right, this is a negative 6. All right. So 3 and 2/10 times 10 to the power of negative 6 is the number in scientific notation. Okay, now let's work with some problems in which I am converting a scientific notation to the standard form. Okay, so this, all right. So let me give you an example. And if I do 7 and 9/10 times 10 to the 5th power, all right, or let me give you 3 and 2200th times 10 to the let's do negative 4. Okay, negative 4. So if I look at this one, all I do is I take, in order to convert it to standard form. Now this is in scientific notation, and in order to convert these to the standard form, I am just taking the decimal, moving it right or left. If it is positive, if it's a positive exponent, my arrow is going to move to the right because I'm multiplying. If it is a negative exponent, my arrow is going to move to the left because I am dividing. All right. So If I look at 7 and 9/10, and it's telling me that it is 10 to the fifth power. So I am going to move 5 places to the right. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And whatever I don't have over here, I am going to annex zeros. I am going to annex zeros. All right, and so I get my number. So look, I moved 5 places, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and so my number is 790,000 in standard form. 790,000 in standard form. Okay, now let's look at this one. Okay, so I'm going to start at 3 and 2200. And then I can see that I have a negative exponent, and that is telling me that division is going on. All right, so based on the power, that's how many place values that I am going to move to the left, because when a number gets smaller, the decimal is going to move to the left, right? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's what this is. All right, said -4. And I am going to annex my zeros. So annex my zeros, right? And so my number is going to be, all right. So this is my number in scientific notation. This is my number in scientific notation because I have moved 4 places to the left. Okay, so here we go. All right, so that's all. For this lesson is pretty clear cut, whether it's a positive exponent, negative exponent, which direction are we moving. So I've shown you how to change standard form to scientific notation, and a scientific notation to the standard form, and this is just a simple rule. Okay, all right, have a great day, y'all.